Is your marriage getting you down? Getting further away from each other instead of closer? Having trouble communicating what you really feel? Stay tuned for a jam-packed episode of Recharge Your Marriage coming up right now. Hi, I'm Zev Halpern, and thanks for tuning in to Recharge Your Marriage, and kudos to you for looking for ways to improve your marriage. We have a great show featuring the It Takes Two Players Improv Troupe and special guest Dr. John Lefkowitz, clinical and forensic psychologist, who will share some insightful information about married life as well as what to do when marriage isn't working and it's time to call it quits. We look forward to his unique wisdom. Here's something to think about and relates to our interview segment a little later. I've been asked since starting this show, do you know how high the divorce rate is, Zev? It's pretty high last I looked. Why bother with marriage? It just doesn't work. Well, what can I say? As that's a question for all of us who are married or planning to be, to chew on and figure out. The high divorce rate is a huge motivation for me to do this show. I truly believe this show will help some couples get insight, education, and tools. And when they do, it will help them not be part of the separation and divorce statistic, especially as it relates to trying to do the things our partners really need from us. It's a choice. Look, some people shouldn't be married to who they're married to, and they won't be able to recharge their marriage when the battery runs down. That's a true, hard fact. We're not taught how to maintain our marriages in school or anywhere. We model, we imitate, we make it up as we go along, and sometimes we need and get some help. And sometimes it's just not meant to be. On a very positive note, I want you to have a free gift for your marriage. So I hope you log on to closermarriage.com and get things you can do for your marriage right now, free. It will get you thinking about what you both need to do, at least to improve the climate of your marriage, and at best, help you to support and fulfill your spouse's needs with a chance for a friendlier, happier, closer, and even more intimate marriage. So go get the free gift. Well, let's get to the Marriage Matters segment. Sometimes, many of us wish we could change our spouse's behavior and turn them into someone who might do a better job of fulfilling our needs. It's a reasonable wish. Since we're not genies or magicians, abracadabra, eeny, meeny, gypsalini, when we try to change our spouse's behavior, it often doesn't work out like we had hoped. And you have much company, as many have tried to change their spouses. So instead of trying for a spousal overhaul, which is sure to frustrate, try making some small tweak. Tweak your marriage, not your spouse. Taking small steps towards meeting your marriage's needs goes a long way. While many agree that changing both individual and marital behavior is hard and unleashes powerful resistance, many are open to a slight tweak in the marital routine. Consider making a small tweak, which involves reassuring your spouse and making some kind of good faith effort to meet their needs. Okay, if it's too difficult to make a physical gesture, one of touch, then make eye contact. Give your spouse some attention. Look, our brains are always on the lookout for a threat. And behavior that produces anxiety, like complaining, scolding, nagging, is viewed by our brain as a threat and pushes us away, instead of sending soothing messages like attention, encouragement, which bring us closer. What messages are you sending to your spouse by your behavior? If it threatens, then it needs to be redefined into a message that conveys soothing and security and brings us closer together. So think about a small step you can make towards your spouse instead of away from them. Take a look at this couple in action.
What is it?
Well, it's just weird.
What?
Well, you know how, like, sometimes when we're together, I say, like, stop. It's not because I don't want to be with you. Could you just maybe do that a little softer?
Oh, yeah. I thought it was soft enough. No?
Well, it's just certain things, yeah, and certain things like that, sometimes it's a little too much, but I don't want you to not do things. You know?
I'm just glad you're telling me because, I always have to kind of guess, and
You're not mad?
I'm not mad. I'm glad you're telling me because that's supposed to be good, and
right, and that's
if it's not working, then we need to, I guess,
okay.
It's weird to talk about it.
I'm so relieved.
Just a small directed tweak, not a spousal overhaul. One issue, one small tweak at a time. Now, join us for the Sexpectations segment of the show. What's the one thing we know about fire? It can spread from a small spark to a huge event. So I encourage you to relight the fire in your marriage by taking some small steps and get your mind off the end game. In marriages with little romance, couples try too much or focus on the big event. Yeah, you got it, that event, rather than a little hugging, caressing, massaging, and kissing. And yes, when spouses are unhappy or angry, disagreeable, it's really hard to think about kissing and hugging. Look at this couple's attempt at closeness.
Hey, you busy tonight? Because, I'm not, and it's been a while.
I have a report I have to write, actually. Yeah, and as soon as this is over, I have to do that.
It's the first time hearing of it.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna get started. So I'll finish up early, okay? I'm gonna get started.
You know what I miss?
What?
Kissing.
You
We
do?
used to kiss. We don't, kiss anymore. We do, everything else, but kissing. Have you noticed that we just...
Yes.
I like kissing you, and I miss it, and I think we think we should kiss more.
Just do that? Just kiss?
Well, start with it.
Well, that's a good start.
Let's kiss.
Okay.
Okay.
How about starting here, in a place you know was positive, like recapturing your intimate memories? When was the last time you thought about those dreamy and steamy times when you first met? They're your archives, your own private treasure trove of real, intimate memories. Let's take this a bit further. Remember your intimate times? The first deep kiss, touching each other in private ways. The first time you made steamy, hot, passionate love. It was like being drunk with passion for each other, and you couldn't wait for the opportunity to do it again. Remember how you looked at each other? How you craved to be naked and close? Oh yeah, you did. After lovemaking, can you remember the relief of tension and feelings of bliss you shared together? Well, these early intimate moments are forever in your personal data banks. They're your private, special memories and feelings. They were so incredibly good, can't you actually feel them right now as you tune into those hot and sexy memories together? When did it all stop and why? Was it children, life, responsibilities, stress, changing bodies? Some of you can use this material to get back some of those early intimate interactions. All you have to do is close your eyes and back you go. Look, I know it's hard to recreate the lust and passion of old. That time was uniquely special. But see what you can do to improvise and do something with each other to bring forward some mutual sexual passion you both feel comfortable acting on, and try to take the risk and leap in the direction of passion. Take a look at these couples.
So you know what I was thinking about the other day? I can't stop thinking about it. That time at your parents' house, the backyard. You know, after everybody had gone home from the block party.
I remember.
Yeah, you do?
What made you remember that?
Well, just thinking about you and stuff and...
Stuff.
You know, it's just...
That was
really
an amazing
good night.
Yes.
Do you think maybe next time they're out of town we could, sneak back over there?
That was so long ago.
Yeah, and it was a really long time ago.
It would take longer. But yes.
I'm up for the challenge.
Intimate memories are what we have to help us get back in touch with our sensual selves for those of us in long-haul marriage. Go back there together when you're in private and alone and retell them to each other. These are better than photographs and movies, as they belong only to the two of you who shared them. Hope this has helped you recapture a bit of what the two of you are capable of generating, and that you'll use them to stimulate new intimate interludes in your marriage. If the parts still work or not, as they have remedies for that now, you need to slip into a sexy mindset. Put the domestic mindset away for a bit. Think like lovers do. Two willing, consensual, sexual partners. The result just might be good enough sex, which I'm sure will be a welcome relief to some. And even steamy, lusty times can live again in your marriage. In the Marriage Pulse tonight, we welcome Dr. John Lefkowitz. Dr. Lefkowitz is a board-certified clinical psychologist and a fellow in the American Academy of Clinical Psychologists with more than 20 years of experience. He also specializes in forensic psychology and has offices in Rockville and Ellicott City, Maryland. Along with his work with individuals and couples, he has extensive experience testifying in court as an expert on parenting and custody, while also specializes in alternative dispute resolution, such as collaborative law and mediation. In his work with couples, he focused on couples in crisis, as well as blended and step families post-divorce. His upcoming new website is splitadvisor.com, which we'll look forward to hearing about soon. Welcome, Dr. Lefkowitz. You've been super busy with an exciting new website, which we'll hear about shortly. So thanks for taking the time to share your wealth of knowledge with us. You have a great deal of experience working with couples that have decided to call it quits. For our want to stay married people, what are some of the early signs that might tell a troubled couple it's time to get some help?
Sure. Well, I'm particularly like some of the work by the Gottmans. John and Julie Gottman have written multiple books on marriage and relationships. And they talk about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. And those are criticism, contempt, stonewalling, and defensiveness. And when those 4 elements are particularly present in a relationship, that's when you know there's significant trouble. And I think as we all know, all couples at times argue and may criticize or be defensive. But when there's a greater level, more frequency, more intensity of criticism or defensiveness as a result, and an inability to work through conflicts effectively, then it's probably time to seek out some type of professional help.
Yeah, a lot of people have trouble just knowing when to get the help. There's a lot of people who say, we're going to go get help, we have to get help, and then 2 years go by and it gets so much worse. So it's really important, that there's ways to understand when to do that. If there's been an admittedly, a caught infidelity or an admitted infidelity, is there a way to get past it? Can couples really move past the hurt and forgive each other?
Yes, it's possible. Unfortunately, statistics tell us that most times when there's been infidelity in a marriage, most of those relationships end in divorce. However, at least a third or more of those relationships are able to survive infidelity, provided both people are willing to significantly invest in working hard on the marriage, in being transparent with each other. The person who was engaged in the infidelity is willing to be very honest and kind of bare their soul and beg forgiveness of their partner. But it's also very important to look inward and try to better understand what was going on in the relationship in order to sort through how it got to a point that one person in the marriage was seeking that level of intimacy outside of the marriage.
Not all marriages work. Tell us a little bit about your work in collaborative law and mediation as an alternative to the regular divorce, American divorce, which for some people is a nightmare.
Sure. Well, I think everybody's familiar with the traditional concept of divorce, and it's been portrayed in movies such as War of the Roses. And oftentimes people do want to avoid an ugly or unpleasant situation in court. So a great alternative is called collaborative law or collaborative practice, and that's where both husband and wife would retain a collaboratively trained attorney, and typically both husband and wife would also retain a collaboratively trained divorce coach, such as someone like myself, a licensed mental health professional who has specialized training in being a collaborative divorce coach. And typically the role I would play is to help clear some of those emotional landmines and emotional triggers that inevitably come out when unraveling all the complexities and nuances that go along with ending a relationship, particularly if there's children involved or there's significant property or assets. Another component is the involvement of a neutral financial professional as well. who can help sort through some of those financial elements of the relationship without two lawyers arguing about it, and the family using resources to figure out which attorney can argue more effectively about which spouse is entitled to more.
When does the coaching start? Go to the attorney. When does the coaching start?
The coaching starts at the very beginning of the process. The collaborative is a transparent, non-adversarial, child-focused approach to ending a marriage. And the part of the goal is that rather than at the end of a traditional divorce process where people are often very depleted, sometimes broke, to say nothing of furious with each other for what happened in the course of the...
Definitely furious.
Yes, and I think we've both seen that. But instead, through a collaborative process, the goal is by the time that process is complete, there'll be a blueprint for how they will continue to co-parent together effectively, for how they may manage conflict, how they will handle impasse together. And so at its best, and again, this doesn't happen in every collaborative case, but at its best, it can be a transformative experience for both husband and wife and allow them to continue on their journeys, separately rather than in a partnership, but do it in a way where they preserve their self-respect and integrity.
And how does the lawyer, when does the lawyer come in?
Well, the lawyer's there at the
Are you together? Are you all together
yes,
in a room?
we typically work, that's a great question, we typically work in a team approach. And so sometimes there'll be meetings with a full team, which could involve the lawyers, the divorce coaches, perhaps the financial neutrals. Sometimes just the coaches will work with the husband and wife to help develop this parenting plan, which again is a blueprint for how we're going to co-parent. So it's more than just what's called an access schedule, who has the children when, but it gets into all the specifics related to what happens on snow days, what happens if a child's sick, what happens with toys and belongings when there's transfers between homes. So there's many elements to developing a clear, well-constructed parenting plan.
It's a really complex, comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Tell us about your exciting new project, Split Advisor, which sounds fantastic.
Yes, thank you. And I think once the site launches and goes live, people will see for themselves that it's fantastic.
It's a great idea.
Right now, you can go to splitadvisor.com. We just have a one page up with, and you can enter your email if you want to get updates on the website. We hope to go live on July 1st. It will be the premier website on the internet for information and resources about separation and divorce, with a particular emphasis on parenting and children. There's some wonderful features to the site which haven't been available on the internet yet. We have things such as split experts, split resources, split tools. One of the split tools will be how to have the conversation. So in other words, unfortunately, most parents, when they decide to end the marriage, don't even talk to the kids about it. One day kids wake up and one parent's saying, hey,
we're getting divorced.
Right, we're just getting divorced, and dad or mom is going off to live in another apartment, townhouse, what have you.
So this will have ways to do that, to have these conversations, and to, it sounds very, very comprehensive, and it sounds like what a lot of people need. I mean, I hear about people needing it all the time. So I wish you super luck with it, and because I know how much work you've put into it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
When marriage doesn't work and you're thinking about calling it quits, Dr. Lefkowitz can be contacted through his practice website, suburbanpsychology.com, and look for his upcoming website, splitadvisor.com, this summer, which will be an invaluable resource for you to check out as well. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. To find out more about the It Takes Two players, contact Chris Pennick. I invite you to find out more about solutions and your unique marital challenges. So check out closermarriage.com, your source for recharging your marriage. Follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook, subscribe to us. Finally, hug, kiss, touch, talk, cuddle, smile a little, and be kind to those you meet. We're all fighting a great battle. We're all in need of some loving kindness. I'm Zev Halpern. See you next time for Recharge Your Marriage.